And we are live. We have made it through Pride Month, guys. It is so over for the flags, okay? But white boy summer lives on. Unfortunately for RFK Jr., I'm revoking his quirked up white boy pass because he may very well be the next top government shill. Hey everyone, welcome to Civil Offense. My name is Ahmed N-word enjoyer Mlih, and today we're going to be talking about RFK, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Donald Trump's campaigns, the deep state, and the potential end of the FBI as we know it. I am here with Ignis. How you doing, man?
You're coming right out with the spice, huh? You're just like, no, none of this, like, none of this jalapenos, none of this, like, serrano pepper. Let me just go straight for, like, habanero right here. Like, Jesus. you're talking to me about, like, oh, I don't know if this is safe to say on YouTube. And then you just, like, in the first few
Well, that's what the school shootings thing was about. I didn't, okay. But we're in the first minute now. I don't know if it counts as that. But, how you doing, though? How you doing?
No, I'm doing all right. Day to
day. All right. Day to day. Let's see. We got to tell the Discord we're live because, guys, we are live. Make sure you hop in on the Discord. It's not even in this description because, again, I don't know. I just don't want the feds to see this in every damn video I do. But you know what? Like, go to the RFK Jr. video I did with Garen. It's down in that description. And yeah, I know it's still like up there publicly. No, I mean, come on. The feds are out there. They're coming for me. The gangster communist computer gods are coming for me. So go to ahmedmlih.com and sign up for my email list for the latest updates. Check out Civil Offense on Rumble. We're streaming on there right now. Make sure, just in case we get banned on YouTube because of all this talk. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. And remember to like, comment, and share the show. So Robert F. Kennedy Jr., he ate box. What about that, Ashton?
Say again?
He ate box.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And that's how he got his way. It's just... I thought you were saying like he did like boxing. I thought we were leading straight into like, oh, he's jacked, he's ripped. No, we're leading into his sexual promiscuity in the earlier days, which is likely why he has the fucked up speaking voice that he does.
Guys, I never ate pussy. I never did that.
I love my wife very much. No, I can't. You got his voice down.
And now she's hung. So I'm sure he loves that.
I wonder if it was the bougie coochie.
Oh, it was that. That was the one that was the one that really got him. He was perfectly fine. It was like 70 women or something. Didn't matter, but he went to that one trans choochie and it was over for him. So but no, I bring that up because I've seen a lot of the what's up, Jason? Oh, I've seen a lot of the Owen Benjamin tweets about that, so I just had to mention it. I've been wanting to talk about that on the show. It's been pressing in my mind. I've been going to sleep at night thinking about this stuff. Like I couldn't get it out of my head. But RFK Jr. himself actually said, and I don't think you've seen this video, but he actually said on YouTube, like, I feel sorry for the people who have to listen to me. I can't watch myself on TV. He literally said this. He said this to some news reporter. I think he's trying to get like sympathy from people, basically get that vote. But then at the same time, he's a little buff right now. We're not going to get to that just yet, but you've probably seen based on the thumbnail that he is jacked. I don't know exactly what that's from. People are suspecting it's TRT or just any kind of gear. But in general, I wanted to talk about first sort of like a lot of the simping that's happening for him, actually. I until like about now where maybe there's some other views that we could point to where it's like people are saying basically, oh, maybe he's not the guy we thought he was or whatever. But like look at his positions beforehand. And I kind of want to know, what like the right or like libertarians were trying to coalition with him on when it came to this stuff. He had the 2018 tweets about gun control, like basically like this has been pointed to, and we could actually like pull it up as far as what he actually said. I'll go ahead and do that. But in the meantime, right now, apparently this isn't his view anymore. He doesn't actually say he believes he'll take away your guns at this point. But let's show what he's got here as far as his tweet on Parkland. Oh, okay. Let's see. Hold on. It's coming in. We got it. We're going to put it in the stream. But yeah, he basically said the Parkland kids were right. The NRA is a terror group.
Bro, I wish the NRA were like half as gung-ho as the left makes them seem. Because they are fucking shit, generally speaking, for like gun rights. Like they concede so much. I hear better groups are like Gun Owners of America is just the one that I like majorly hear about, and then NAGR, not going to say that in it. That yes, which is what National Association for Gun Rights or something like that.
Well, point being, now he claims that he won't be the guy, to take the guns away. He's saying like, if the Democrats and the Republicans come to a consensus, we'll show that video in a second. But basically, his point is now he's not going to come for him because I don't know. Maybe this is let's see what Garen says. What's up, Garen? There's no way the NRA isn't state backed. I agree. But what do you think of other things like firearms policy coalition and NAGR? So
they're better. I wouldn't.
Well, I'm wondering what Garen thinks, but
Garen.
Yeah, because you already mentioned that. But let's see. So we're gonna share the screen on this one as well. Just show you what RFK is saying now. Let's see. So we got this clip right here.
Fucking loser can't even get a
I need to add it to stream. Hold on. It takes a second. Okay. We got it, right?
I want to ask you about the fact that you're running for the Democratic nomination and 77% of Democrats support an assault weapons ban. Do you not support an assault weapons ban?
If we can get a consensus on it, if Republicans and Democrats agreed to it and it passed Congress, I would sign it.
Okay. I want to ask you.
So basically, that's the idea that hey, where'd I go? Hold on. That's the idea that hey, like it's not me, guys. I'm not the one really doing it to you, but basically I will be the one, to make sure the Democrats and the Republicans come together. But I really think when it comes to politicians that hold up, let's see, we got Zach, PsyOp RFK. Yes, I think when it comes to politicians, they sort of have that ability to say, oh, like I'm not coming for your guns, right? Like, or I mean, even not the government, right? But it's more of the idea that like, okay, well, maybe you'll see something under Trump's presidency that like you'll see the bump stock ban or whatever, or like red flag laws. And he'll even say himself, like, due process first guns or no, it wasn't due process first. It was take the guns away first. Due process later. Sorry, that was my mistake. Trump actually said the opposite of due process first. But the point being there is kind of politicians have this thing where they'll say like, okay, well, I'm not the guy that's going to impose these tyrannical policies. And like, yeah, it is the state doing it, but they kind of want you to think almost like, okay, well, it's just these other corrupt politicians. It's not me. I'm not the guy doing it. Like maybe under me, there'll be one or two things to keep people safe and all that. But, overall, like, I'm trying to help you guys out. Whereas, I mean, this is really the state just trying to do it, under each person that's in office. Like while they're in office, they're trying to do it little by little. So there's not really one person that you can point the blame to and say, oh, it was this guy or whatever. And the state also tries to conceal itself in that, making sure that you're not thinking the state's doing it either. It's just all these random people that at random times decided to do this to you.
Yeah, and that's where I'd say monarchy has one up on democracy, because the king only has one neck, whereas democracy is more of a Hydra, Leviathan. Yeah, it's kind of worse in that respect. Democracy.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about that. But look, my point being here that like basically. It's not like necessarily, the firearms have to be taken while someone's in office. It could apply to a monarch as well. You could also have a monarch that's like, saying like, okay, well, I'm only doing this for your safety right now. I'm only putting this bump stock ban, me, myself, supposedly doing this for your safety. And then his son comes in. My son will take care of you guys. The son's like, oh, well, like this red flag law and all that, this is just for your safety. Like, this isn't, anything bad happening and whatever. It just goes on and on and on. It's the same thing, but in different steps. I mean, it's slavery. Democracy as a psyop is slavery with extra steps. And it's really just trying to give you this show. Let's see. Ignis, what are your thoughts on insurrectionary anarchism? Yeah, you rip YouTube. All right, bye, guys.
Okay, so I will say that I do not support the erection that happened on January 6th.
Why not?
Chuck Groomer. I don't know if there are any of those allegations yet, but if there are, I said it first. I mean, what are they doing to the kids in the background? There's only so much that happens.
I thought you were referencing some sort of background that was happening in a video or something.
No.
Is January 6th based? Yeah.
No, not based enough. They only destroyed some public property.
The fact that they want to install Trump as president is unbased, but like the stuff they did do, I mean, like, guys, look, honestly, I'm not even, that was an act. Don't come for me.
But insurrection is very...
A little bit, right?
Yeah, a bad idea. Talking specifically within the tactics in Civilization 6, of course, just within that context. January 6th, don't you mean this generation's 9/11? Of course, this generation's 9/11. Absolutely atrocious, horrible. Where were you January 6th? Where were you January 6th?
I was eating Greek food, and then I get a call from my friend saying, "What you saw what they did at the Capitol?" And I'm like, "Oh, is Trump like getting elected now or something? Did they fix it?" And he's like, "No, man, they're inside the building." And I'm like, "So what? Like, you know, I don't understand. Is it getting like is it changing? Is something changing?" And he's like, "They're inside the building." And I said, I clearly didn't.
That's the headline.
I clearly didn't get what was going on here.
But from a strategy point of view, you're not likely to say win, especially against a simulated government within Civilization 6 like the United States, where the heads of the Hydra are very likely to come back, and it's not just like cut off one head and the beast is slain. In Civilization 6. So it's very likely that it'll come with a crackdown. It'll very likely end the people's lives. But if in Civilization 6, a government does become tyrannical, no matter what, these people live in certain places. They're still squishy flesh people in a simulated reality. And they have families. Who said that? What?
Whoa, hold on. Okay, so wait a second. Let's catch up on chat.
They have families who can disown them, of course.
Yeah, let's just quick catch up right here. Oh, wait, Garen's doing some roasting here. RFK sounds like Jordan Peterson after having a permanent stroke.
Jordan Peterson and Slavoj Žižek had an AIDS baby.
Okay, I'm going to try and do the Jordan Peterson after having a permanent stroke, see if it sounds like RFK. You guys, you need to stop, okay? Okay, well, okay, anyway, how to end gun violence and the state. True, Zach. And what's up, bro? Let's see, hold on. Jordan Peterson sounds like Ben Shapiro after consuming kosher.
What's it mean, consuming
but Ben Shapiro does consume kosher. What do you mean? He consumes
like
kosher food. I don't understand.
Something, just like gargling some kosher.
I don't understand. Zach says you can at least privatize a king, I guess. IDK, what that would do. I don't know.
I don't think that's like a model towards like.
I don't know how you do that
specifically.
I mean, like it would be the state. It would just be the state saying, "Okay, everything's private now," but everything private now is what the state declares is private. So it's kind of that problem that Rothbard points out when he says, I forgot which text this was from, but Garen knows it. He knows the source. I mentioned it to him one time and he was able to pull it up. So maybe he'll type it in again. But basically Rothbard says like, okay, so what if the state just basically hands over everything, or just basically says like all these property titles that are private are now the legitimate things. And okay, now the government ceases to exist. I mean, it would make sense that the private entities are what comprise of this new, I mean, essentially, it doesn't even have to be new. It's just the state still just disguised as, it's private, so it's voluntary, bro. Entity.
I mean, the mechanisms of enforcement. Say, like, are you saying like the state says whatever property norms are in place are going to be the ones going forward, and now we're dissolved? Are you talking about that? Yeah, basically, but not saying, but it's basically handing it over, but like to chosen people and specific ones that are obviously going to uphold the same thing that's going on within society. I mean, the mechanism of enforcement wouldn't be there, so that wouldn't matter as much. There would be the issue of resolving the illegitimate. The police could be privatized, the law could be privatized, all this could be privatized. I wouldn't say so. I would say like from at that point, they're like going forward, then it would be like, the state currently holds a conception of like legitimacy in people's minds, where it's like if you got the McPolice out there who bought like up some like private police of then that's going to be seen with a lot less legitimacy than others, unless you make that appeal to, and unless you have ingrained in the culture kind of. Yeah, I think they'll take over the schools. The McDonald's schools will actually tell you that the McPolice are just helping you. So long. It's taken like centuries to psyop people to that level. I mean, it's been so effective. I know, but that takes time. That takes time and resources and energy, and that hasn't been. I mean, like, it does, but it happens, and that's what it takes for it to be the case. But it does happen. But there's still also the problem of resolving public property as well. I mean, it would just be handed over to someone. They would just say, here, it's private now. It's this guy owns it. Or like even if it were given to like each person based on how much taxes they've paid, the rich people now have benefited so much from the state that they will just be essentially getting the shares to make up for the fact that like the rich people still own the most stuff. I mean, like, yeah, as far as the illegitimate property claims go, that would still be a problem that needs to be resolved. But that is it's getting rid of the mechanism of enforcement of the state, where then you could say that has fractured up the state to control these illegitimate property claims. So each of those people with an illegitimate property claims are a state. But at that point, the state is so small, you can kind of just drown it in a bathtub. So
okay, hold on.
if
We
it
got
needs
this.
to happen in Minecraft, it can happen.
It's literally for New Liberty Chapter 1. See, I don't know how that slipped my mind. Let's see. Rothbard's argument in context was the state declaring that Jeff Bezos was now in charge of the state and called it private. That wouldn't be legitimate. So privatization isn't inherently libertarian.
I mean, depends on like, it's like that would be then statelessness. To a degree, it depends on like how you say as a state is, because if you're saying like the United States handed over the entirety of the property of the government of the United States over to Jeff Bezos, then he would illegitimately control property claims, and if he tried to enforce that, he would be acting as the state as well. So I guess in that sense, that's true.
Yeah, we're gonna catch up on the chats here. Would the 2020 riots and January 6th riots be more based if it was at the Federal Reserve? Yes. If 2020 was the summer of love, then is January 6th the winter of Trump? Well, would we call it New Year's for Trump or Christmas? Like, is it too late to be Christmas for Trump? It's Dia de los Reyes. It's like Three Kings Day for Trump.
I have never heard of that holiday.
That's on January 6th. It's Trump's
so
Three
funny.
Kings Day. It was where the Three Kings delivered the gifts to Jesus Christ.
Oh, okay.
It is Trump's Three Kings Day. Let's see. Should we commandeer H-bombs and blow up the Federal Reserve banks across the nation? Well, this is gonna get taken down.
I don't think you need H-bombs. I think you just need.
Why do you need to dismantle them with well, hold on, not dismantle them, but why do you need to decimate them? Why do you need to decimate them? Why can't you just use the resources? Like, why can't you take it apart and use them for your own houses or just repurpose the building by taking it over? Let's see. Yeah, I agree. I think even if there was a successful revolution, there would still be the conditions in place for a new state to form.
Yeah. And I do want to say, like, speaking seriously, I don't endorse violence. Any sort of like actions against the state are going to fall terrible consequences on you. You're not going to get away with it. This is a Leviathan that you cannot face just through violence.
Well, how legitimate is it though?
But it's easier to acquire fertilizer than it is an H-bomb. I'm just going to say that.
Hey, right here. Hold on.
What? What the fuck is that?
We can rebuild him. Why is he in front of the George Floyd brick wall?
Is that the one that got struck by lightning too? The mural of George Floyd that got struck by lightning. Only that side of the building destroyed that.
See mural. That? Why did that not get as much attention as it should have? Let's see. Hold on.
Who was in the internet circles a bit?
No, that was already said. Ben Shapiro's a bad J, LOL. I'm not going to say the word out loud. I don't have AT&T though, or whichever one it was. I think it was like Verizon or something. Apparently they'll find you if you say it. Home Depot presents the police, does have a nice ring to it. Okay. That's funny. All hail King Bezos. Let's see. The property norms in that situation would still be defined by government fiat, right? Not by libertarian homesteading.
Illegitimate property norms are illegitimate property norms. It would just be a sort like the enforcement of it would just be criminal action. You don't necessarily need to get like the state involved in that decision. You can broaden it to general categories of just like, oh, the mafia says it owns the city and you're paying rent. No, just because like you could say it's like acting as a state, but I would just clump all of those into illegitimate property norms, and the enforcement of those are criminal.
Just because the state is saying it's dissolving, like the thing is the state's not dissolving. You get what I'm saying with the example specifically? Like when it says this ownership's going to be quote unquote transferred to private owners and, given based on how many taxes they paid or whatever, like how much in taxes, it doesn't mean that the government actually goes away or that this is a different state. It just means that the state has redisguised itself as this, I would say.
I would say like the identification or like classification of whatever entity was there is now reorganized. Like, there's nothing new under the sun. The matter that existed in reality is still there, but the organization, classification, everything like that has changed. The abstraction has changed. So in that sense, I'd say the state is then gone. If there maintains to be mechanisms of enforcement, those can be called the state or not. I don't necessarily care. What matters is if they're criminal or not.
Okay. Let's see. July 4th might be a good day to peacefully protest at the local Federal Reserve Bank in Minecraft, of course. I mean, go for it, I guess, but
I would not.
Protesting ain't going to do much, I guess. Like what does it really do? George Floyd was an agorist.
What if you really want to help people, okay. I'd say that should be like a primary objective. Get them to get hard money, get them to drop the dollar. If fucking software engineers and shit like that, develop crypto more, because crypto, there's a lot of potential there.
It's for sure. George Floyd was an agorist, bro. He used a 20 at a white market firm that wasn't real, and he was trying to get them to give him their products that were funded by these huge corporations for free. Bro, he's scamming the scammers for real. George Floyd is my favorite agorist, on God.
I remember hearing a different thing where it's like Dave Smith is against counterfeiting because that's stealing the value from everywhere else. But I don't think you can really root that in libertarian principles.
Criminal versus non-criminal, greater than state versus non-state.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's the real anarchist way of thinking. Let's see. Return to trading in gold. I mean, yeah.
Gold or like
crypto.
Have gold for crypto exchanges /
Okay, we need to expose RFK Jr. some more, because he has clearly not been exposed enough. We got lost in the sauce here, but
I don't think I want to see RFK exposed at that.
You sure you don't want to see his sauce that we got almost lost in? Well, we got lost in a different sauce. We need to get back into his sauce. Joshua Reed Eakle. I usually bully this guy, and I actually might after this as well. But he right here has actually said something that is a bit good, I guess I'll say. Let's see what we got here. Present. Yeah, I really have to get on this, man, because it's not even letting me do this. Hold up. Okay, I see what I did there. So anyway, Joshua Reed Eakle, he tweeted out on his Twitter that, I'll just read it out honestly. This guy isn't libertarian in the slightest. In response to RFK's tweet on the NRA, he basically said, this guy isn't libertarian in the slightest. And you know what, Josh, you're right, but neither are you. You kind of suck in every way. Whenever I'm looking at your Twitter, bro. I don't even think that needs more elaborating. Honestly, I don't even need to show the tweet because you can look it up, but that's honestly what that is there. We talked about the guns for him, but yeah, we showed that clip too. Okay, so on to the vaccines, and we were going to talk about conspiracy theories, but not necessarily just that. Just the vaccine policy he's telling you he's going to put in if he's in charge of the state. I'm pretty sure you commented this last time, bro. It's true though. Let's see. He's a statist like his father and uncle. RFK, yeah. RFK, yeah.
There's only a few people. Okay, there's the subset of people who've read anarchist theory, and then there's this even smaller subset who believe it. So it's just come on. If that's the standard, everyone will fail, and that should be the standard in determining our allies. But
I think be useful. The thing is, he's a greater statist than others because he's trying to become a part of this class, and he already is really because of his family. Basically, anybody that's trying to go into the state's ranks or really invest themselves in the white market, especially for the purpose of benefiting the state. People in general for supporting the state are statists, but I'd say these people are part of that class themselves, purposefully making themselves that way. And so I'd say this guy is more of deserving of facing the wall than just your average guy, because that guy is innocent. I think he's been indoctrinated into this. But RFK, what does he think about aspartame? I don't know. I think he's been talking about fertilizers or something, basically what they're putting on crops, and he's like, well, I think they should label it,
Okay, so what's the deal with aspartame? Because I've heard about it.
Doesn't it give you cancer?
I don't know specifically. I heard there was is it the same thing as MSG or glutamates, where it's supposedly an excitotoxin or something?
That might
it makes your nerve cells fire so much that they kill themselves.
Actually, I think that might be it. I will have to research it. No different from the Roosevelts. Yeah. Let's see. So basically on vaccines, he has said, like, I mean, not only has he said, like, he doesn't trust vaccines because they've given him injury, but that we clearly established that was him eating, women. And the thing is, like, with the vaccines, though, as a policy, right? Like, just speaking in terms of like where we're at right now in regards to what the state is doing. The mandates themselves are like pretty much over, especially here in the United States. So like, what is the point of kind of campaigning and making vaccines one of your bigger things? And I mean, I have another reason for why he may be doing this, but I think like part of it might almost be like releasing a bit of the pressure so the cooker doesn't explode, like basically trying to get people to think, oh yeah, there's somebody out there fighting for me on this issue that I felt like I was done wrong on, but the state already did everything it wanted to, so it doesn't really matter. And let's see. Well, actually, before I say this other thing, I think, he the information he's giving out, I don't know if it's accurate or not. It may not be, right? Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be. I know the whole like Peter Hotez drama was happening with Joe Rogan wanting him on the show to debate him. And, there's this whole like, distraction of like, hey, like, let's see who's going to come on to debate. And like, we're going to put all this money behind it and whatever. I think that's more distracting than anything. But I wouldn't be surprised if, again, like the information he's giving isn't completely accurate, because even Esso, when he was on my last show, he was saying that there were people that were basically making outrageous claims on purpose to kind of discredit everybody else that had legitimate like claims having to do with shots. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he's part of that. But the reason I say this is because this guy has been co-opting a lot of conspiracy theories, and it's like, conspiracy or like actual conspiracy theories. And I don't think it's a mistake. Like, it's kind of his shtick, but also like, why? Let's see, his book promotion. Yeah, I guess so. WHO is linking it to cancer. Yeah, aspartame. You nailed it on aspartame pretty much. Zach apparently knows about this. He said you did. It sounds like it makes sense based on what I've heard before about other things like you mentioned. But yeah, with the Kennedy assassination, that's like one big thing he's latched onto. He's basically said like,
before you go with that.
Okay. You seem like you want to make a point.
On the vaccine thing.
Yeah.
I remember like back in the days, like just several years ago, 4 or 5, 6 years ago and whatnot, I remember seeing like on YouTube, it was like a thing to respond to like RFK Jr.'s like talks about vaccines, because he's been on this campaign for a long time, ever since like the original like MMR autism study came out and was discredited and everything like that. I don't know if that's his major piece of evidence from the perception that I have of it, of just like passively watching that content. That seemed like it was the main thing. But what I would say is that the media kind of just jumped on that as like a main sticking point to try to like deride him and everything.
You're saying you think it's more than he's actually talking about it.
But I think he's leveraging it, especially with like the Hotez stuff.
Right,
I think
right.
You would be stupid not to leverage it if you're still getting like media attention and people aren't reacting too negatively to it.
Yeah. This is what Garen says. Let's see. RFK is basically psyoping actual legitimate conspiracy theories and problems with the state, especially the vaccine. I agree. And I'm actually going to go into that because he talks about the Kennedy assassination. We talked about this on one of my other shows that I did with Garen having to do with RFK. Make sure you watch that out. Make sure you watch that. It has to do with Trump, RFK, and Vivek Ramaswamy. And we talk about their anti-establishment, quote unquote, campaigns, exactly what that means and how it has to do with what the state's interests are. But basically he said the CIA, and more than once, he said the CIA has killed his uncle, or did kill his uncle JFK. And basically the way I'm viewing this, and we kind of viewed it in that episode, is like it's kind of this attempt to continue the narrative that the CIA is just some sort of rogue agency. Like this isn't actually, what the state would do if, it was accountable to we the people. Like, the CIA is just acting out of control. The FBI is just acting out of control. These agencies need to be held accountable. So what we need to do is make the government more accountable to itself, right? We need to do that, because that's totally going to happen. But basically... Yeah,
I would say it's like more of like an embedded state interest. Like this is like an overriding interest of the state, where the head of state might not necessarily be the president, but rather like some person like who has the most sway in these intelligence agencies or something like that. Maybe not directly in like an executive position or something like that. But say if you were to get conspiratorial, say there's someone behind the scenes or family or anything like that, whatever collective organization.
Well, I don't think it's conspiratorial, but I don't even think it's one guy either. Like it's multiple people within these agencies that have leverage over each other and have the ability to do something about another person acting out. And basically that would suggest that instead of it being a rogue thing, this is actually what the state wants to do. And then if you act rogue, you'll actually be the one that's punished for it. Let's see.
with what the state wants to do, these would be the executives, so it would be like what they want to do, and that they're just like the overriding force. And I would say, I'm fucking scared of the intelligence agencies. Have you seen some of the shit that they got? Yeah, you ain't.
Yeah, but again, when I say what the state wants to do, I basically say like what would be necessary for the state to continue its course that it's on, you know, in order to continue its control over society and ability to enforce what it needs to. So as long as it can do that, that's essentially what it's requiring of the people within it.
I would say I would focus more so like on the individuals at the top who are like whose interests we're analyzing as the states. They have the overriding control over it, so it's just really their interests, and they just want to benefit off of it, so they're acting in their own self-interest. They're benefiting themselves over the course of this, and they're doing what they want to do that.
Okay, so
rather than technical necessity.
Yeah, what I was going to say here with the whole government accountability thing is that like basically you have a Christianity kind of thing going on where like the God sacrifices itself to itself for you. Like that's the whole thing happening with the state right now. I mean, like, you know, basically it's trying to make itself seem like that. Whether you believe in religion or not, if you do, I guess, you know, if you feel like I made fun of your God, well, the thing is you should understand that the state isn't your God. So like if I'm saying something's trying to compare itself to your God, that should actually be a bad thing. Nothing should do that except for your God. So therefore you think you should think the state's bad. So there we go. The COVID vaccine makes your children gay and retarded. Although I repeat myself.
Jesus. Regarding like the God thing, it's just like it reminds me of a quote from my favorite comedian. I think it was Dave Landau who said it. History is like poetry. It rhymes and it's a little gay.
Let's see. JFK literally ordered white phosphorus in Vietnam, expanded military personnel there, and invaded Cuba. There's no question, either deliberate or not, he's a total psyop. Agent Orange, sorry.
Wasn't RFK making the point that it was like the intelligence agencies around him and like advisors that were pressuring him to do it? That like his initial reaction was like, "No, I don't want to do this. What are we talking about?" But he went along with it anyway. That he was
that
like
just be what
sort of like of weak will.
It could just be like propaganda.
No, that's like,
oh, look at this guy. That I mean, it could just be like, look at this guy, like what he did to try and stop it. You know. I mean,
it's not like the other media. That's what he's saying.
He could have been putting up an act for it, or he could have like legitimately thought this, but went with it either way because there's leverage over him. I mean, it could be a multitude of things.
I mean, I don't think there's like any other like the whole sort of like a chain of communication would be RFK's thoughts to JFK Jr. to whatever podcast he was on where he said that. But he could be lying. That could not be true, but I find it likely that the advisors were very much pressuring him into war and that he went along with it.
Well, I wonder why they would do that. Like, I don't think it would just be like, you know, them saying like, okay, well, we do. Complex. But why is that the case? Why is that a thing?
I mean, to do with like the state and like getting with the state and stuff, but I'm talking about like specifically JFK himself.
Mm-hmm.
And like the relationship between the president and the intelligence agencies when it comes to controlling the state.
Yeah, well, what I'm saying here is that, like, I mean, the leverage placed over the president is therefore these people that are basically pressuring him to do something. So, I mean, like, and I mean, it would suggest that the president still, like, even in this chain of command, isn't the top guy. I mean, there's like other systems in which he can even be pressured himself, which would also say like, okay, well, the president's not all powerful either. And like, basically would mean like systems within government don't necessarily have all the power, and they don't. It's more so like they're all just making sure that the government's running a certain way.
It reminds me of this clip of Chuck Schumer getting interviewed and what was her name? I think it was on NBC. I forget most of the details, but he was asked a question regarding like Trump going up against the intelligence agencies, and Chuck Schumer responds and he's just like, well, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, you don't go against the intelligence agencies. And that was like an off the cuff, unprepared question. And he just like laid it out right there, just like bare ass naked, where it's just, yeah, no, you don't go against the intelligence agencies because they're going to fuck you up. You won't be able to like benefit yourself through the state anymore. If they really want you, they could pin you for however many felonies. They can like plant a little bit of cheese pizza onto your device and everything like that.
Yeah, I was just watching Scott Ritter talk about how like he was doing something for like the FBI or whatever, I think, and then like basically they were telling him like, because like he had went to what was this, like fight in some wars or whatever, Vietnam I think or whatever, and like I don't know what the hell he fought in, honestly. But he's like, oh, I went to go kill some commies. And then he's also like, you know, doing stuff like invasion of Iraq or whatever, and like basically like going there beforehand to get rid of the weapons of mass destruction, he says. And then basically he was saying when he was trying to get out of it, basically this other guy told him, look, you know, Scott, the FBI is gonna, you know, fuck you in the ass. Like if you try and leave, like, and he's like, well, I'll do it. Like, you know, you don't understand or something. And apparently to this day, that's what he says they're trying to do to him. It's a little sus, but you know, let's see. I'd advocate reading Legacy of Ashes, and you will definitely understand just how corrupt and evil the CIA truly is. But it's not about the CIA being corrupt. It's like what the CIA is.
I mean, like, you could say it's corrupt from whatever ideal purpose, but like the ideal purpose of a government agency is more propaganda than reality. And that like the purpose of government, I'd say, is more intertwined with what it actually is, and what it actually is a criminal organization.
Yeah. Let's see. The company has a tendency to botch intelligence for their own benefit to focus more on clandestine murder schemes.
I've heard that they've kind of moved away from that after JFK and Martin Luther King Jr. Kind of just making them martyrs and everything like that. So I think they either have gotten way more subtle with it, or
possibly
just have done different tactics too.
I think the power structures in government, this is Garen, are more like a web. Not one person has all the power. They are just cogs who don't hold all the information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Part of me wonders like what fucking secret society is out there and everything like that. But I don't fucking know.
So, well, it's not a secret necessarily. I don't know, but
but just like the people who are just like completely in the shadows, like you don't even know their name, sort of shit.
You can look up who the members of Congress, who their people are, like in their office. Like you can look up who their legislative assistants are, and you could even look up like who's working in what office. I don't think there necessarily even has to be a whole nother system of people other than like, I mean, you know, we can see who's who, but I will go into that in a little bit. So aliens was another one that RFK is co-opting. We're talking about things that RFK is co-opting. Aliens on the rising hill, like Hills the Rising, whatever the media channel is called. He said, apparently, I will declassify all alien and UFO intelligence on day one. And this is another thing. And we actually have another example that I will bring up. You know what? Let's bring it up right now. Marco Rubio also did this, right? Like this is something Marco Rubio also did, not necessarily saying, oh, I'm going to release the alien docs, but like this is a Daily Mail article that says Senator Rubio says officials high clearances knowledge. Let's see, that's the link. I need to see. So Senator Marco Rubio, hold on. Yeah. Says he's heard shocking firsthand accounts of UFOs from top Pentagon officials who claim U.S. owns crashed non-human craft and is working on reverse engineering their technology. So, yeah, Marco Rubio also went on a Fox News interview back in 2021 to talk about UFOs. And again, this is just something I also think that he's trying to get attention for, because obviously he put it on his own YouTube channel. He's basically saying, look, guys, I'm talking about something you must care about, these UFOs and all that. Who knows what it is? It could be China or it could be aliens. Like, you know, I just want attention. Yeah, that's pretty much what he's doing as well. Similar to RFK Jr., I'd say. But yeah, no, we actually have some polls to go over, or a poll, I should say. So if you are in my Discord server, you have voted in a poll I made about what UFOs truly are. So I'm about to read the results of that, because I actually need to get to the bottom of what these UFOs are, and I needed you guys for help. So which is why I asked you guys to help. So the options were, well, first of all, join the Discord server if you haven't, so you can get in on this next time. But I asked UFOs, what are they? Real aliens, demon ships, government drones, anal beads, J space lasers, or don't know / sky curious. And basically, we got one vote for the ogre, which was the demon ships, right? That was the emoji for that. The demon ships got one vote. Government drones ended up with 5 votes total, which is just like, well, oh, somebody else said it. Was that you? Who did that? Somebody did that right now as I said it too. There are 5 inside the government drone one. Let's see. And then for J Space Laser, actually we had the anal beats. We got 1 vote. That was Jacob. Thank you, Jacob. And then we got J Space Lasers. We got 3 votes total, which means me and 1 other person. And then we had 3 votes total on Sky Curious. So government drones did win, and it just got another vote. I don't know who got in the last minute one, but you actually did it while I was saying that. Jason did that. There you go.
I'm kind of scared to see the alien whose anal beads are as large as a spacecraft.
Yeah, well, I don't know, man.
But so far, when it comes to the aliens, all I've seen is like just hearsay. I've heard it from this person who heard it from this person, sort of thing, from that like top Pentagon official or whatever it was, intelligence official. Same with Marco Rubio. It's funny how Matt Walsh has just jumped on it completely. It's just like, you guys are actually crazy for not believing they're aliens because the government has been keeping it a secret for so long. So the government narrative is to keep it a secret. So if you don't trust the government, you should think that there's aliens. It's hilarious. But
look at the kind of memes I'm getting in my server right now. Hold on.
You're showing your phone.
Yeah. When the IRS finds out about the nickel you ate when you were poor. Thank you for putting that in my server while I'm streaming. Thank you so much. There's a debate happening as well about women. So you definitely want to get in on that.
But what I would say is
it's an epic server, all right?
It is. Very, very good server. Some would say the best.
Some would say.
The aliens, if there was an unidentified flying object or aerial phenomena that crashed, I think a more probable scenario would be like whatever government tech that they're on the cutting edge of, they fucked it up and it crashed. So it's just like very classified FBI, CIA, whatever intelligence agency op crashed. US like Air Force is just like, okay, let's send this over to them. Oh, what's this stuff? Let's send this over to them. And they're just like, oh, yes, this is aliens. And we're going to research this technology. Or very unlikely another government tech or something like that. But assuming a crash did happen, I would guess that first. Because you think aliens are going to fucking travel light years and just crash into Earth in the middle of bumfuck
Well, they weren't
nowhere?
expecting the atmosphere, man. I don't know what to say. They didn't know we had these ozone layers and stuff.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
didn't know about our gravity. Let's see. So yeah, RFK, he also said psychiatric drugs are linked to mass shootings on Bill Maher. He didn't say this he did talk about it on Bill Maher, but Bill Maher defended him, basically saying that the media is lying about you, man. They're not telling the truth when it comes to exactly what you're saying. And and this is just another one of those examples. I don't really have anything specific on that one. I mean, like, yeah, that's a more legitimate one, if anything. I mean, the SSRIs thing, it's pretty popular. But lastly, not necessarily as far as RFK, but just within the sort of conspiracy area, and yes, this is going to be a little weird to say conspiracy too, but it happens to be that a lot of conspirators, conspiracy theorists, whatever you call them, conspiracy reporters, actually do this, and it's working out. And RFK has been, apparently, getting those gains and whatever. He may be on TRT or something, but we're actually going to watch the video. We're going to go ahead and watch the full video on this one. Let me make sure I'm not having a mess up here again. And I'm actually giving you guys what's going on here. So I don't know why it goes straight to the tab. Okay. It's coming in. There we go. Hold on. Let's see if we can get that audio going.
Wouldn't call that the best form.
That's a good boy.
Okay, we're going to mute that because that was loud. Okay, so we got... Let's see. And these aren't even full sets. 1, 1, 1. Bro, these aren't full push-ups. But yeah, no, we'll count them. Hold on. I'll go back on this real quick. We'll actually count like how many little push-ups he did there. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Bro's giving out 8. Bro, can you make a ninth? Nah. You didn't even do 9. Bro,
that's so confusing.
Either one of us
because also like he had worse form at the start and then he did like the harder version. I don't know that.
Unbelievable form. All right, bro, what is with that? And you saw him do the incline press too.
I didn't do that. I didn't see that.
No, you saw him with the incline press. That was like the one where he's like, well, I don't know if he was incline or just regular bench press, but I think it was incline.
Right.
You saw that.
I saw like a screenshot.
Okay, well, there was a video of that, and it was like small. Well, the guy that was there with him said it was a drop set. To be fair, it was like his last set of the day. I'll give it to him. Like I understand. Like, it was lighter weight. He was just finishing up. I get that. It was a little light, but whatever. But yeah, he's on TRT or something. Gear, I don't know, juice, whatever.
Yeah, it could be the case that it's just like this is the form that he had earlier and maintained it. But it's more likely the case that he's supplementing that.
He's trying to seem fit. He's like, look at Biden. He's old and frail. Look at me.
And outside of competition, I don't really have like an issue with performance enhancing drugs.
Yeah,
so it's just like I don't really give a shit. But
it's just kind of funny.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. But when it comes to the point you were making earlier about the SSRIs and other stuff causing school shootings, I think that's just something that people should talk about. I don't necessarily have an issue of the state co-opting that as a talking point or anything like that, because it's just like, hey, look into it. Just like,
yeah,
hey,
but I mean, I think it would also get into like there at that point saying like, oh, big pharma must be this like rogue agency as well. We got to do something about that. I think it could get into the same issues, but that's just me predicting that. Let's see. So getting censored as well. He had an interview with Jordan Peterson where he also violated the vaccine policy on YouTube and it got censored. This is also something The Hill talked about as well. And it seems like The Hill is very much grabbing onto that, but that might be, I mean, first of all, it's a media organization. So that's how it is. But let's see. I don't have an issue with the state, Ignis. Well, technically I did say it now too. So there, you got me, Garen. You got me.
This is true.
You have me on video saying it. Let's see. So yeah, I guess we're not really going to talk about that much because that was just something that happened. I guess it doesn't really matter that YouTube took them down. I guess like, more so it's like that whole like, oh, big tech's coming for us. And then maybe even big tech needs to be reined in now. Right. I mean, but like, this may be more of that whole TikTok thing where it's like, oh, look at this, social media company and what it's doing. We need the Republicans to come together and actually do something about this social media. So next, we already talked about Marco Rubio, but Trump. We have Trump. We have more news on Trump. He's going to clip that. Bro, why?
Oh no, you're going to clip that. Oh no.
Yeah, anyway, it may make me seem better to people that already don't like me. Maybe they'll be like, oh, he's finally redeemable or something. Trump, Alex Jones actually said he believes the deep state will try to assassinate Donald Trump for Donald Trump's actions because he's this, guy that obviously has this plan to dismantle the deep state. Donald Trump, he's talking about moving organizations around and reining in these bureaucrats, these leftists in the government. And, he's going to jail or something. I don't know. He got arrested. But you'd wonder with this because like if it was such a problem that Trump was running right now, why wouldn't they just make a law forbidding him from running or something? I don't know. Why wouldn't they just do that?
The media was constantly floating the idea where it's just like maybe in negotiations they can drop the charges if he doesn't run.
Yeah.
Trump maybe. But that's a possibility that they could be trying to go for that. That's very unlikely.
Is Trump schizophrenic?
Like, if it was moved to like a federal court or like a New York court or something like that, or DC court, then it would be likely that would be what they're going for. But currently it's in Florida. Don't know necessarily where it'll go for there. If he gets a Florida jury, I think it's likely that he'll get off. If he gets a
he'll get off.
He'll get off on that jury. He'll get off.
Okay. Wait, on the jury?
No, just the judge.
Get off on jury duty?
Is there like a sexy judge Halloween costume? It's just like he can get I'm not gonna say that. I mixed up names in my head and don't. That would be.
He was indicted. He still did campaign rallies and currently is still promoting his campaign. Didn't they say he got arrested like once though? Like wasn't there some sort of? I mean, I guess
I thought there was like an arraignment or something like that, where he needed to go in to like get served. I don't fucking know the details.
I mean, I think they were threatening to arrest him, and that became a media story. I'm sorry for lying on stream.
But for the 436th time, the walls are closing in.
Yeah, I guess. Oh, Trump's going in, man. He's going to prison now.
Oh, yeah, the walls. What walls are they? What walls are closing in on him? Where are they closing in?
The U.S.-Mexico border.
I was going somewhere completely different.
It's going to be a beautiful wall.
It's going to be beautiful.
You've never seen it before. The walls I build to close in on myself are way better than what the leftist media could ever do. It's pitiful. It's basically the equivalent of him getting called into jury duty. He isn't sitting in a prison cell. Well, I didn't think he was just sitting in a prison cell, but I thought like there was this whole thing where like, I don't know. I heard about it, I guess. This is what I get for just hearing about things. Let's see. So I guess, did you have any more thoughts on Trump?
No, nothing too much. Just the same way with like the rest of them. He's not our guy when it comes to an ally who's an anti-statist. He could have his uses. He does have his issues. Same deal.
All right. Well, we are about to go into a historic moment here. All right. This is going to be something that you must have never seen before, right? Like, I mean, well, I don't think you have. But let's see. So breaking. Right here in 1 second. It will be breaking, and in just a second.
Screen is breaking.
No, right here. It's breaking news. Idaho GOP has voted to abolish the FBI and ban them from the state if it is deemed they cannot be reformed.
You had me until the if.
But that's the thing with these guys. Like, like Vivek Ramaswamy as well did the exact same thing in his campaign where he's like, we'll abolish the FBI and school and Department of Education and IRS and rebuild where necessary.
Yeah.
But that's what the state does. It's not just getting rid of these capacities. And it doesn't seem like we're at a time where the state wants to get rid of these capacities themselves, but it's more so like it has some sort of need to reform, reallocate resources, whatever it may be, to continue those same operations. And basically, the federal government would probably allow this to happen anyway if it needs to happen in Idaho. Even Garen talked about this in the server. Basically, like if there aren't enough resources to coordinate there, it's probably just not an important of an area to be in. There may be other places where they do need to relocate their resources to.
I mean, the federal government may be sufficiently disinterested to where they'd let them do it, and that would be preferable. If the FBI didn't have field offices, it would be preferable if the FBI didn't have field offices across the United States. But I'd say it's just like change the incentive structure so that the state is sufficiently disinterested to allow other stuff like that to happen, because the more resources they have to expend to get agents out to houses, the better.
Do you think local and state governments are puppet governments of the federal government?
Depends on what you mean by puppet governments. They have their own incentives and everything like that. They're still beholden ultimately to the federal government. So in that sense, sure. They can act in a way that is in some form against the interests of the greater government. Yeah, that's kind of what it is. But it's just like it isn't enough against their interests to create a response.
And maybe an example I would point to of this claim would be DeSantis and the vaccine, or the COVID stuff in general. But I don't necessarily think it was as much of a problem to the federal government, especially seeing as I forgot what the Supreme Court decision was then on that, but it let Florida's thing stand. It seems more like, okay, well, in Florida, there must have been more of a need to uphold the economy here as opposed to other places like New York and California. And I mean, obviously you had the essential workers going to work still. So it's not like everybody had to just be shut in for everything. So obviously there were probably economic areas that had to be running as opposed to others, just for the state to, I mean, obviously not just go down, go under.
I just don't think. I think so many of the things are not out of technical necessity. Like those it doesn't need to be the case that that the vaccine mandate difference of policy is different in Florida because of economic reasons and everything like that. I would say it could be a multitude of reasons, but it came mostly down to the decision of DeSantis and whatever state legislature in Florida actors are to push that through and convince them individually that the incentive structure around them was such to allow it to happen.
Garen says that keep in mind they can act against the interests of the Fed to some degree, just like how puppet foreign governments can try acting against the interests of the U.S.
Again, it just depends on what you mean by puppet, because it's just like ultimately beholden. Yes, the states are through the official channel of being subject to the Supreme Court, but also through unofficial channels.
I mean, they're established by the federal government.
Right, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like that is the official structure, and then there are the unofficial incentives.
Let's see. We will shrink the government if we don't have the opportunity to, but we can't do that if we have the opportunity to.
That's about it. Yeah, that's pretty. That's a bullseye take. It's pretty spot on.
Okay, so we let's see. So yeah, we talked about the that. Any more thoughts on the FBI in general? I mean, like as far as like, you know, people campaigning, there's like a lot of supposed anti-establishment candidates like Vivek Ramaswamy too. Like I mentioned, like he says, we'll rebuild where necessary. Now Trump's talking about how the FBI is like corrupt and all that, basically because, you know, the whole Mar-a-Lago thing we saw. And then you also have, you know, now the Idaho GOP, and you saw a lot of the, like the conservative movement basically saying, oh, we need to reform the FBI. Like, what do you think of all this?
I think it's important to remember it's just like building off of that take right there. And that was a really good take. When you're not in power, you're able to like just promise big. And this is what people want right now. The big promises of just like, we're going to get rid of this stuff. It's out of here. Moment they get into power, that kind of changes. What I would fucking love is if politicians sign contracts where it's just like, if I do not fill my promises, I will have to give each constituent of mine $20, and then they would be on the take for that.
Who's going to do that?
Absolutely no one. Maybe a local politician.
Why? What would
I would
be the
love
point
that
of
for a
this?
local politician.
Who would do this? I don't think so.
I mean, it would be nice. It would be nice.
I mean,
on the national level, that would never fucking happen because no one has that money. But hey,
let's see here.
Sometimes it would be nicer. $20 is $20. Sometimes.
I mean, that could be taken quite a bit of a different way. And, you know, it is still Pride Month, Ashton. So watch what you're saying. Watch what you're saying. Okay. Remember to like the video, guys, by the way. If you're still in here, make sure to do that. Helps out the stream. But also, end of Pride Month update. Going into that, we actually want to talk about our White Boy Summer coming up. Dr. Levine, who I'm not even sure, what to call that individual, has said, this is not just Pride Month, though. Apparently it is Pride Summer. Guys, happy Pride Summer from Dr. Levine. But the thing with this is,
like, I think I got a term that you could use. So it's just like we can call this person a human, or we could use the scientific name because we would like to be scientifically accurate of Homo sapien, or we could just shorten that to Homo. So the Homo.
Okay, yeah, I got you. Right. With this going on, let's see. Dr. Levine declares Summer of Pride. Do we want to actually watch it?
Yeah. It's
yeah. I guess we could. Yeah, we would want to talk to people about this, but it's so loud. It's on the YouTube Shorts. The problems with YouTube Shorts, guys. They don't have a slider.
It's so shit. They don't have the slider for the time. They don't have the slider for the audio. It's so much worse. YouTube, you are a $1 billion company. Yeah, $20 is $20. That's another bullseye. Excellent take there.
You should read this out.
I think it's a disconnect. I think a disconnect between us might be that I don't think politicians acting in their own self-interest and as a technical beneficiary for the state are mutually exclusive. I don't think they are by necessity. In many cases, it just isn't the case that both are happening at the same time.
Okay. Let's see if we can. It's so like, should I just play it as is? I'll just do that. Let's see. Present. Okay. I have to do this every damn time, man. It's a little much, but here we'll see our favorite man. Do you know what the original name of this individual, of this fellow, of this homo is? Change the thing I was using like 3 times.
Dr. Levine, Pride Summer.
Rachel Levine, and I have the honor of being the Assistant Secretary for Health at the United States Department of Health and Human Services. Happy Pride. Happy Pride Month. And actually, let's declare it a Summer of Pride. Happy Summer of Pride.
Thank you.
Wait, so is this the Summer of Love? Is this the real Summer of Love? Forget the Floyd one. Forget what we fought for, right?
Yeah.
Forget what we fought for, guys. I ripped this up because I can't hang it back up. Forget what we fought for.
Here's $1 million.
Happy 4th of July. Happy 4th of July.
Ted Kaczynski was not based. But
he's based now. Do you guys see the robot parts? And the George Floyd agorism?
Jesus Christ. A $1 million movie idea that's already been thought of before. The Splurge. Like The Purge, it's all Pride Month long. Mandatory gay sex outside. The Splurge. It's coming. It's coming this
Wait
summer.
A minute. It's coming
this summer?
Okay. Well then. It's
a gift from Dave Landau. He's got a new
I'm
show
not looking
out.
Forward to it.
Dave Landau and Quarter Black Garrett have a new show out. They're the refugees or
Mhm.
they made a camp refugi from Steven Crowder because of all the fallout that came from that. Got a new show. It's funny, everything like that. Great
Okay,
stuff.
so yeah, but I will not be looking at this thing in its one eye.
The splurge. You're not gonna look at
Yeah.
the splurge as it comes for you.
No,
It's coming for
no.
you in particular.
I'm not looking into its eye. Let's see. I don't want to get shafted here. So we have this tweet.
Careful not to get put up against the wall.
I'm not looking forward to it because it's behind me.
Yeah, it might come for you anyway.
Okay, so we have this tweet from NBC News that has gotten quite a bit of attention. The Coming for Your Children chant has been used for years at Pride events, according to longtime march attendees and gay rights activists who said it's one of many provocative expressions used to regain control of slurs against LGBTQ people.
I'm just saying.
Let that marinate.
Yeah, the coin jar that conservative Christians have, like the religious right have for the like we were right coin jar, that thing's like fucking full. Everything that came after that, not necessarily everything, but everything that came after this, they've been pretty correct on. So it's just like that's been said before, but also in their coverage of like the video itself, not just the article, or I think like it's in the article as well, where it's just like one voice can be heard saying we're coming for your children. No, one voice says it at first and then a bunch of people chime in.
So why would it say chant in the article headline?
Yeah, like
why would it say chant in the tweet?
Yeah, so what's your style? Either it's not happening or it is happening and it's good.
But
those are supposed to be steps separate from each other. You're not supposed to take those at the same time. You're kind of just like taking two steps down the stairs and you just fell down.
But it's saying like, okay, well, actually only one person said it, but guys, this has been happening at gay pride rallies for months and, or years actually. What did they say? Long time. It's been used for years, according to the gay rights activists. So if the gay rights activists are fine saying it, if this is reclamation of the slurs, why would you only want one guy saying it? Wouldn't you want everybody saying it? I don't understand.
Also, reclamation of the slurs. What slur? What slur?
Hold on. They're literally thinking we're coming for your children is their N-word. We're reclaiming the slur.
Yeah, you're just being pedophiles.
Yeah, well, see, the thing is, like, is it a good thing, that this is being said, or is it a slur? Because, like, first of all, if it's a slur, but it's also completely accurate, what are you saying here? If it's a slur, right, which is used to say something about people, what way is it a slur if they're actually saying it? I don't understand here.
A slur would be, okay, a slur is like a title. It has to be a title first. So it's like, okay, we're coming for your children. That's not a slur. So say the slur would be children comer. Okay, so if you're like trying to reclaim the title of children comer, that would be a slur, but you're not. That's not what you're trying to do. I don't think, like, because that's not the thing that you're doing. I mean, like, that's what you're trying to be. So you could be, like, trying to claim that. And if you claimed that in a pride march, I think you'd fit in fine. But I'd want to do some, we'll just say, like, 1v1 me CSGO. 1v1 me CSGO.
I mean, just,
push-up. Try to claim that if you're trying to claim that as a slur.
Just a push-up competition, just a friendly push-up competition. Well, actually, I don't want to say that because they actually use their arms a lot. So, they're doing twice the equipment work I am.
What do you mean they use their arms a lot?
Well, they use as far as pushes go, I don't know, man. You got first of all, you got the, action going, like, the pushing, what I'm saying? Like I don't want to compete against that. It's probably both arms too. They're like, at the same time.
Sure.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I should be competing against them in physical activity, even though, they can't fight. But, anyway, it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. We don't need to fight. We don't need to fight as long as you're not coming for the children. But clearly, as you're saying this, it's a bit, I don't know. It's a bit, so it says readers added context in the Twitter notes. I'll just read out the community notes for what they're saying right here. Coming for your children is not a historical part of Pride. The chant appears to originate from the San Francisco Gay Men's Choir. They point to it singing a song with this title 2 years ago in 2021. This article is thus a misrepresentation of Pride's history. That's Twitter notes for you.
I want to know who's the journalist. Who was the journalist of the
okay,
article?
yeah. We need to name names here.
Yeah.
We need to expose these. How much you want to bet it's a Steen at the... Okay.
Look at the forbidden text. Don't look at the early life on Wikipedia.
By Tyler Kincaid. Kincaid. Not Kincaid, but Kincaid.
What I think people forget so often when it comes to like mainstream media articles, these are not impressive people. You look at their Twitter, they are not impressive people in the slightest.
I'm looking up this.
So it's just like to think that these people carries any sort of like weight or something just because of the like dynasty they came by. No, they're just fucking losers. They are just losers, and they can be bullied. They live on the internet. They live at some place in real life. They could be bullied.
Bro, what kind of last name is Kincaid?
It's King. It's King shit. Too bad he's just not living up.
Is he like British or something?
I don't know.
Let me look it up. I'm looking it up right now. Hold on.
But of course, just because they live in somewhere,
it's Celtic.
In reality, don't go to their house.
It is Celtic.
Okay.
Why is he so gay? Let's see. Let's read a little bit into this article. Over the weekend, a short video circulated widely on social media of an unidentified person at a New York City march during Pride Festive saying, "We're coming for your children." In the 21-second clip circulated by a right-wing web streamer channel, it's a right-wing web streamer channel, it's Timcast. Let's see, dozens of people march in the streets and are clearly heard chanting, "We're here, we're queer, we're not going shopping." But one voice that is louder in the crowd, it's not clear whose or whether the speaker was a member of the LGBTQ community. So you don't even know, right? You don't even know if this person is a part of the LGBTQ community, according to yourself. But this guy's saying he's coming for your children, and actually every gay person saying this ever is actually a good thing. If that's how you're characterizing it. I mean, not to say that I'm saying that, but just that they're saying that. Basically the LGBTQ community consists of every gay person to exist, and every gay person is actually saying this, and it's actually a good thing.
But also you could like follow other people picking it up, and there's like this one topless chick with like pasties on that you could see like the mouth of moving.
Do we want to play this on the YouTube? Is this a good idea? Not. Well, I'm thinking maybe.
Timcast did a soft blur.
Timcast what?
Did a soft blur on it because you could see the side boob, you could see the under boob, you just can't see the nip.
Well, I think we'll leave it out then, unless you want to listen to the audio. I don't know if we can just do that. Actually, I could just scroll down on it.
And I'm not one to say free the nipple. I would never say that because that is degrading towards women.
That's disgusting. Where's this happening?
Yeah. I would never suggest that women free the nipple because I'm a patriarchal son of a bitch. And
where is it happening?
I want to oppress women and control their bodies.
Where can I find this?
So if you want to fight the patriarchy, you know exactly.
Where can I find this so I can fight it?
Yeah. Fight what? The patriarchy?
The nipple, like freeing the nipple. Where can I find this?
You can find free nipples. Let me just tell you, they're in your phone. Yours specifically in the photo library.
Well, like the save stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. Wait, hold on. I closed the article. I guess we're not watching the video, okay? But we'll read a little more into the article. Wait.
Do we have any chats?
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Garen says these people saying we're coming for your children as an ironic reclaiming of what they've been called is like someone saying I am a pedophile as a reclaiming of being called a pedophile.
You just gave him the clip. You just gave him the clip, dude.
What? I said what I said. It's true. You
just read it. Oh God.
Oh, I see what you're saying. And I said it's true as well.
Yeah. No,
I said it's true.
No, it's like you say, oh,
I like teenagers.
I'm a, and this was.
I like teenagers. 18 and 19
Vosh would say. Actually, it is. This is what Vosh would say. A phoebophile. I gotta break it up. You have to break up so they can't just get it together. You got to get hyper
I have
specific.
a statement to make. I like teenagers. 18 and 19.
I'm going to just let you sit with that. I'm going to let that marinate.
You're like, let him sit with that. I don't even want to say anything. Let him hear that. Let him hear the silence after he said that shit.
I want you to think. We have fun.
Okay.
We have fun.
Okay.
Here. It's called We Do a Little Trolling. We do a little trolling.
Okay. So, let's see. So to conservative pundits, activists, and lawmakers, the video confirmed the allegations that they've levied in the recent years that the LGBTQ community is grooming children. I mean, if you're saying we're coming for your kids, I mean, I don't know what you expect people to think. It's just how it works. Let's see. But to Brian Griffin, the original organizer of the NYC Drag March, it's that the worst they've heard, it's only because he wasn't there this year. What? If that's the worst they heard, it's only because he wasn't there this year. What? Griffin said he chanted obscene things in the past. Hold up. Oh, he's actually saying something base, but I don't know if I could say it here. He wants to fight the mayor with a diamond sword in Minecraft, and actually that's not bad. But what comes up is that he jokes about your hair down there and toys during marches. Okay, well then, people at the drag march say seeing God is a lesbian. Okay, well. It's all just words, Griffin says. It's all presented to fulfill their worst stereotypes of us. Why would you want people to look at you like that? Why would you want people to think, yeah, this is exactly what I hated this whole time?
That's like saying what you said earlier. Yeah, it's just like, it's the sort of thing. It's the fucking jokester in high school who says just like, I'm a fucking idiot. I'm a fucking idiot. Well, over time, you're going to like infuse that into your character. And guess what? You're going to be a fucking idiot, except applied to pedophilia. And other shit like that.
Well, oh, look, conservative politicians and pundits have increasingly referred to advocates for LGBTQ rights as groomers, associating people who oppose laws that restrict drag performances or classroom discussions of gender identity with pedophiles. I actually saw this Timcast clip, and I don't really watch Tim Pool anymore, but I pulled up this like clip he had from his show where he had this one chick on. I don't even know her name, but she was annoying as hell. And basically, he was telling her like, well, first of all, I don't know. They had this whole like DeSantis Trump debate, but then he started saying, look, I don't like that they're showing genderqueer in schools. And she's like, well, I'm not for censorship. And he's like, it's literal like a blowjob, like in the actual book itself. Like somebody's giving to be fair, it's on a strap on, but guess what? There's a blowjob here and it's auto, whatever you would call it. Not gynephilia, whatever the other one is for penises.
Autofellatio.
No, that's when you suck yourself off.
Oh, okay. I thought that's what you were talking about.
I didn't even have to go that deep into what it was. It's just that was okay. Well, anyway,
there might have been like a picture of that too in that book.
That may be true. But either way, this is just the same thing pretty much, other than the fact that it's fake. But it's still, like she's like,
girl who was on like the Majority Report.
I don't know.
The coat.
I don't know who she is. She was annoying. She's just an annoying bitch. That's all I know.
Gotcha.
You could look exactly her up right now. Honestly, yeah. Well, honestly, how about I show us the video right here, actually, because we can actually watch this one on the stream. I'm gonna have to find it real quick. I had an RFK moment there with some saliva in my throat. I have to find it. It's this chick. Well, the Majority Report posted a clip of it, but I don't know if she's from there. You said she's from where? You think Young Turks or something?
Majority Report, yeah.
Majority Report, yeah. They literally posted a video of her, like in the thing. What's this? Emma. Yeah. Who's this Emma?
Emma Vigeland, I think.
Emma. Let's see. I need to find the actual clip of it. Yeah. I'm seeing like a bunch of stuff between them. Tim Pool struggles during military aid. I don't know, man.
Of course,
there's so much like ragging on him that I can't actually find the real clip itself. What's her last name?
Vigeland. I don't necessarily know how it's spelled. But Sean from Actual Justice Warrior came on to debate her. But I'd say Tim just spent so much more time interrupting Sean and making shitty points, whereas Sean would have made like better points. So Sean had like a post-debate recap sort of thing, and went on Adam and Situ show to talk about it. And it was just like,
oh, well, I found a short describing it. Sorry, go on.
But he was just saying like, man, Tim was making like different points that led off into like red herrings and stuff. And I would have like fucking pounded her on this shit. I would fucking like pound her into the fucking bed sheets.
Oh, whoa. Let's see. Progressive pundit claims Tim Pool is pro-censorship because he's anti-kink in schools. This is a Timcast clip that they posted. Hold on. I have not put it on the screen yet. Whoops. It's my fault, guys.
There's a teacher who provided a book to her middle schoolers called This Book is Gay. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
I have heard. That's actually a very good book.
And it provides instruction on children. She provided instruction to children on how to use adult gay anonymous sex apps. I don't think that's appropriate. Now, look, by all means, you can be in favor of them.
Maybe she had a child. Maybe she had a child in her classroom
who wanted to go on Grindr and have sex with adults. Is that your argument?
No, I mean, I'm not saying that. First of all, I don't know. Again, this is
why would a 10-year-old need Grindr?
This is the thing that you do, though, Tim.
Oh, that
You're
I do.
picking specific examples that
You
are
asked me for
inflammatory.
You asked me for one.
Okay, then go ahead. I
did. We have the book.
Yeah, I'm.
I said, don't show children blowjobs.
Look,
You said you appreciate
I'm
it.
not in favor of censorship.
As
I'm not in favor
an
of
objective
censorship.
observer that's sitting here, you asked for a specific example, he gave it to you, and then you try to say he's broadly in favor of censorship.
Yeah.
It's possibly to make a hypocrisy point later on when he complains about social media censorship or something like that.
No,
but it's like he's talking about this specific issue.
Okay, so yeah, she does this a lot from what I could tell in the clip that I watched, that she's basically like, Tim, like, you have to give me a specific example. Like, what example are you talking about? Like, give me an instance of this. Like, I always hear that, like, from people that are like, show me one time where this has happened. Oh, one time where this has happened. Show me 2 times where this has happened. Oh, 2 times where this has happened. Show me 3 times where this has happened.
Yeah. She was only there to clip farm. You could see her resetting, going back to her calm voice. Tim, why are you yelling at me? Why are you doing this to me? Everything like that. Why are you pro-censorship? Why are you a Nazi? Everything like that. And what's funny was there was one point that Sean from the Actual Justice Warrior, who was the other person in that clip there, saw, like, somewhat made a joke at her expense. And then the mask slipped for just a moment where she thought she was like getting complimented or something like that, and then realized that he was making a joke at her expense. So she just stared at him and then right instantly put the mask back on. So that whole thing was just a fucking joke. But that's his problem, where he would jump on and he kept jumping on her.
Whoa.
Where he kept jumping on her, almost X-rated, honestly. Almost X-rated to me. Like, that's just what I think it is. But he should have just gave her the rope for her to hang herself with, because he just let her get out of that. She couldn't make the statement that she was going to make in response to his point, to where it's just like, well, I think the book is very good, actually. Why do you think that is? Because kids are going to have sex, get on anonymous gays, adult sex apps. And she's just like, well, I think, and then he just jumps in. So it's just should have let her made a response to that point, and then you could have nailed her on that.
Nailed her.
Yeah. So much sex. Why are you bringing so much sexual energy to this podcast?
Whoa. What am I, a preschool teacher? Come on.
You're trying to be the top G out here?
Top G, yes, actually.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But no, that's for the
Top
server.
what?
You have to join the server if you want to see me be the top G. Okay, so affirmative action. We're finally getting to it, and I don't even think Jason's in here anymore. Jason, come back in here. We're going to talk about affirmative action. Basically, Supreme Court said nah. That's the story. I mean, they said nah, and you see different people reacting to it differently. Obviously, the conservatives are like, oh yeah, this is so good, and liberals as well, I'm talking classical liberals, they're saying oh, this is so great. And actually, Ashton, before I go more into it, what's your take on this whole thing?
The affirmative action thing?
Yeah.
It's funny. I saw that Count Dankula made a reappearance of his Justice Dankula account.
That one's actually pretty funny. I'll give him that.
Memes in there. It's really funny. But I just want to see where it goes, sort of thing. I hear talks about supposedly the universities just ignoring the Supreme Court thing and being helped by the Biden administration. I don't know how far that will go or anything like that. I think that would be an interesting course to go down, because that would be a blow to the illegitimacy of the state. In terms of affirmative action policy, it's just the points being made about oh, this disadvantages people of lower socioeconomic backgrounds. No, that's what the essay is for. That it's not you can't write an essay anymore about your life and how hard your struggle was to get to the point you were, because that is important to universities. and for people's stories and everything like that for admission. And you could still include your socioeconomic background into that. And it's just like at the same time, these people hate when their position is that they've gotten to is attributed to affirmative action. Like, how dare you suggest that it's affirmative action when that really comes from an insecurity they have within themselves? Did it come from an affirmative action? In terms of like the people who've benefited from it. So it's just like, here's how you know that it won't. If you don't have affirmative action, then you don't have that security. You know that you made it there based on meritocracy. And then you have some Twitter accounts that are probably trolls, some Twitter accounts that are probably real, that say shit like black people, and this is what they say, can't make it in a merit-based system. And that's what those people are saying. And that is incredibly fucking racist. And do not endorse that position whatsoever. Just fucking disgusting. People like to say like soft bigotry of low expectations. I would say that's a pretty fucking hard bigotry. That's a pretty like strong bigotry. So it's just like a sort of misnomer to call it soft.
All right. Well, I think as far as like the conservatives that are claiming this is a good thing, though, on that side, and like the liberals and all that, especially the liberals, like, because I mean, I'll go after them more, you know, because they're basically like, oh, well, the government just has to limit itself here, and you know, then we'll be in a fine society. You know, I think this in general is like seen as a win by those with the mindset that like this ought to be more of a liberal society where changes are made as seen to like, or based on what increases freedom, but in the sense of like, okay, here's what limits the government, here's what keeps it smaller, here's how we can like live, you know, quote unquote freer, you know. I actually want to know what you think about, because you talk a lot about utility of policies, if you think this is actually something that does provide that.
I think it makes it the state and state institutions less racist to white and Asian people, and that would, as a white and Asian, I would say is pretty good. And just like general culture wise, I'd say that's pretty good. In terms of other policy, like one of the other major policies is the Civil Rights Law of the United States has codified what's called like disparate impact theory, where it's like if you have a difference of outcome, then the reason that you have a difference of outcome, say like among races, is due to the racist institution. And that's all that you need to prove, that there's a difference of outcome, and then you can assume racism from that. And there's also a bunch of stuff with intersectionality too when it comes to the civil rights law. So taking a look at that and getting rid of that legislation that codifies disparate impact theory would be good for to repeal some of this action that the state has introduced to enforce this like ESG DEI sort of agenda.
So what I'm thinking here, well, actually, I may want to ask more of your thoughts as far as like what you think the like is how this interacts with like SCOTUS's, you know, supposed. Actually, hold on. Let's see. The only thing I agree with on the Libertarian Party, repeal the Civil Rights Act.
I think that is terrible optics. I think you have to explain it. You have to pack that lunchbox a lot further, because the lunchbox is kind of shitty. It's kind of old. It's maybe a little bit moldy on the outside. So maybe you just want to like take like the biohazard seriously.
No, so I was asking like basically like what are your thoughts on the Supreme Court, you know, with like, you know, they say it's like 6 conservative justices or whatever versus like the 3 liberal ones. That's how they kind of frame it. And then like kind of, you know, they're the ones passing all this stuff where it's, or like I guess making these rulings, I should say, when it has to do with, you know, Dobbs or whatever, like, you know, the whole, you know, like abortion thing, and then, you know, constitutional carry, basically like essentially being or it wasn't constitutional carry, it was gun ownership, like basically being like every state has to essentially be like shall issue or whatever. And then now it's like, you know, affirmative action. And there were some other ones. I forgot exactly. Oh, didn't the Supreme Court just rule that like apparently you can discriminate against a customer that's LGBT, whatever? I think I just read this on Twitter. I don't know if it's happened or not. I could actually look this up, but I will while you're saying this. I just want to kind of get your thoughts on that, like sort of like the SCOTUS as a conservative, like seen as this conservative, you know, group versus like Congress, where it's like, you know, maybe you have more of a Democrat, like kind of, you know, like how do you think this actually interacts when it comes down to it?
I mean, Clarence Thomas is in some respects pretty based, but I think the more based the Supreme Court is, the less that the executive and legislative branch will listen to them, which will be a blow for the legitimacy of the government. I don't think they're on some gun stuff, they're pretty based. On other stuff, they're not. Of course, none of these are like our guys or gals in there. So it's just like a matter of cool when we get a win, quote unquote win, and then sucks would they give back like a pro NSA ruling or anything like that. Kavanaugh's not too good. Again, it's just like Clarence Thomas is the one that sticks out as being the most based.
So here's what it was. The Supreme Court rules for a web designer who refused to work on same-sex weddings. In a blow to LGBTQ rights, says NBC News, of course. The court said creative businesses can refuse to sell certain products and services if they disagree with the message the customer wishes to convey.
Yes, my rights to your labor. Because it's just like with all of these issues of just like LGBT rights or black rights or women's rights or anything like that, be fucking specific.
Women's
what
rights.
The fuck are you talking about? What are you talking about? LGBT rights. I have a right to have access to the private property of this place or the women's space that's public property or anything like that. Okay, we can get specific with that. For most statists, determining what to do with public property is pretty difficult. For anarchists, it's pretty fucking simple. Don't have public property. Jesus Christ, I almost went full of fucking ANCOM there. Don't have public property. But for the libertarians' perspective of just like say the trans issue of bathrooms, it's just like let the business owner decide. For other LGBT rights shit, it's just like, oh, I want to have a right to have whatever fucking books that I want in whatever public school. It's dumb as shit.
Okay, Garen says, well, actually, or to clarify, I think the idea of supporting repeal has the baked-in assumption that political representation exists. I mean, I knew you'd say that, man. Like, you know, I knew it was a joke the first time the repeal one. Fuck women's rights. It's time to talk about women's wrongs. Yeah, I do think so as well. Come join the server and talk about it.
I mean, it's like I'll tacitly support a repeal of some things. I'll just like advocate for some others, but it's just like I'm in it for utility. I don't give a shit about like the political representation part of it because I think that's a farce. But I think there is some influence that we have in getting these repeals of status policy. It itself is an action of the state. I'm not per se against utilizing actions of the state.
Okay, so on the Supreme Court thing, basically what my point was going to be, I think the whole thing about like the conservative justices, and I actually bring this up when I talk about like which president the state will choose to be in office, is basically more of like a front-facing value thing where you get like, okay, well, this is actually the people that will represent like quote unquote this office, but technically like for us as the state, they will represent the face of this office, like be our representative, and essentially be the ones to push certain like, you know, ideas when it comes to, you know, obviously they're going to vote on certain policies because that's what they are, right? You know, like they're a conservative justice. So like, oh, they must vote this way on this thing. I think it makes more sense for the state at a certain time to have a liberal, like, or, you know, somebody that calls himself a liberal or a Democrat in office versus a Republican or a conservative in office. They say, oh, look, this person right here is the one doing this. This is why the policy is in place. This is why you're seeing more LGBTQ like pro policies, because there's more Democrats in office and there's more radical progressive Democrats in office. That must be the reason for it, behind like the root cause. And so you shouldn't blame the state. You should actually blame this, you know, random progressive politician. You should blame AOC. You should blame whoever as the person that's specifically the one behind all of this. It wasn't actually the state that had any sort of incentive behind it. It actually was just this person. Let's see. Garen says also, Ignis, if you're interested in post-political libertarian works that have influenced my thoughts specifically and more in-depth story critiquing the idea that political means can help us.
I'm not too interested in reading
yeah, it's fine,
reading
but
too much anymore, but it's just like,
but anyway, what were your thoughts on what I said though?
On what you said, that just completely lost my train of thought of what I was going to respond to that.
The Garen thing, no, it had to do with like the front-facing values and basically saying
when it comes to that, I'd say it's just like a matter of identification of what the state is. Like to an extent, they are like the state is what they do, and so it's just like, are you going to critique? A critique of them is a critique of the state. So it's like those can't necessarily be like separated too much because the state is an abstraction for the organization that they are a part of, and the organization itself is an abstraction. describes like the social connection between them all. But you can critique them, their function in the state. You can critique others' functions in the state. Every critique of a state actor is a critique of the state to a great degree.
So, I mean, like, I don't necessarily think like critiquing the person for being in the state and like, you know, being behind part of all of this is wrong. I just think like, you know, pointing to this person like, oh, this person did this. And, you know, if it were just a different person, the state wouldn't have actually done this. Like, I think the state's going to do it regardless, because I mean, like, you know, there needs to be certain actions taken. So like, if you have like, you know, somebody other than, you know, a Donald Trump, like, I think you would have seen similar economic policies. It's just at the time it made most sense to put in a Donald Trump to be the one backing these sorts of things.
I mean, I don't think the establishment expected Trump to win. I think the votes that ended up occurring were an upset too much of the political establishment just because they don't have omniscience. When it comes to this issue of the state, it's sort of like the Lysander Spooner quote regarding the Constitution. Either the Constitution has led us to this circumstance of affairs, or it has been powerless to stop it. If you criticize a politician or if you criticize corruption, either the state has allowed for this level of corruption or it's been powerless to stop it, in which case it doesn't have a right to exist. Pre-based, I would say. It's that same sort of thing where it's just like that is the form and function of the state to allow for this sort of this set of actions. Whether you would like to say this is different from the ideal that was either set forth or that you have in your mind of what the state should be, this is the reality that we're dealing with. We're not an ideal, like we're not in fantasy land. We're not in fantasy land where the state is this benevolent agency. No, we're in the real world where it allows for this corruption. It is designed this way by the people who are, you are saying, are so corrupt. This is the baby that they have created. It is autistic. It is malformed. The bad kind of autism, the TikTok kind of autism. It is malformed. It is the ugliest baby in existence.
Yeah, see, the reason I wouldn't say corrupt is just because that's how it works. Like, I mean, you can say, you know, like the people within it are corrupt in the sense of their morals are corrupted, but I don't think it's like, you know, the state itself is this corrupt organization, because that would imply that basically it can be uncorrupted.
Yeah. It implies that the ideal is the real, or it's just the ideal of the state is what really exists. It's like, this should be the case to some degree. It's like that the idea that it's like corruption is like just blue pilled, where it's just like, oh, the state is this like benevolent agency, everything I was saying. But it's just, yeah, that's not what it is. We're in the real world here. Yeah.
So, and also with affirmative action, I was going to talk about just basically like the idea that, you know, I mean, you hear it often from the conservative side that the students who are underqualified and they were just, you know, maybe they were black and they got accepted to a university that they weren't necessarily, qualified for, but they got in because, you know, of their race. So the whole point there being like maybe somebody that's underqualified gets in and does poorly because of that and actually ends up dropping out more of the time. And I actually think this would maybe suggest that since you do have those conservative justices in, and maybe this is a failure of a policy for the state right now, like it's not something that it necessarily wants to have in anymore, this is a good time to remove it and basically essentially like ensure that enrollment rates are at the right amount. So basically like, you know, people like dropping out wouldn't be as much of a thing. Maybe there's an issue with that right now, because even like if you're talking about like with the military, for example, the state's having problems with like recruitment there, and you're seeing a lot of pushes for it, especially with how like you have, and I point to this a lot, like you have like Vivek Ramaswamy basically saying he wants to put in civic duty voting and saying that you have to be a part of the military to join, and you have like military recruiters in the classrooms. Like I think this all points back to the idea that like the state is really just trying to get like people to stay in college, get people to be in the military, get people to like do these things that are extremely like, you know, like ingrained in this organization.
I'd like to have a point, and like I'd like to ask a question to you. What do you think of that policy as a method of accelerationism, of accelerating the idea that the state is illegitimate, that it's taking away these rights to vote and like making
civic duty voting?
Civics. Yeah, where it's just like, if the government wants me, if I want the right to vote, I have to work for the government in this sort of way. I'd say like that would. I'd say that would dissuade a lot of people.
I see, but voting. Like the thing is, I think people would still view it as a thing where like, oh, voting is this legitimate thing that we need the right to.
I would say there would be an information war on the way to view it. To where it's just like, it could be a really patriotic thing. It's just like, service guarantees citizenship sort of shit, where it's just like you got to do your service, you got to get that. Or it could be viewed as like, hey, the state wants you to jump into the fucking meat grinder, see if you injure yourself or anything like that. How about fucking don't do that? How about don't rely on the state for this? How about we do this counter economics stuff? Come into the black and gray market, buddy.
I mean, it would be good if an effect of this, policy would be that people start doing that. It's just, I don't think it's like, oh, advocate for this policy so that people start doing that. I don't think that's really how it's going to work. I think if the state, again, like needs to put this thing in for like to increase the military enrollment, it will, and maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. But like, I mean, I do think like the more it tries to push for these sorts of policies that are very restrictive as far as what people can do. I mean, I actually do think that fosters an environment in which people are more likely to engage in counter economic action in the first place. So, I mean, yeah, there's like a net benefit in that respect, but like I mean the state policy is going to be the state policy.
I mean, like, what's the vote matter anyway? So it's just like,
Oh, I mean, it doesn't. It's just I'm saying like I don't really like the reason we're saying we don't advocate for policy. The whole reason.
So say like you don't advocate for it. Would you want it to happen or no?
Well,
like,
that's advocating for it. No.
Would you? No, but like it's a preference question. Would you want
supportive of it? I'm supportive of the condition in which the counter economics are engaged in.
Answer the fucking question, man.
I'm interested in killing the state as quick as possible. Let's see. I don't think the state's omniscient. I just don't think there's really anything political actors can do in that position to undermine the state.
Would that be directly undermining the state, though? Would the actors who are relevantly in charge of the state view that as undermining the state? If you made service as a requirement for citizenship or voting.
Wait, repeat that.
Would the relevant actors think that requiring service as a requirement for citizenship, do they think that would be undermining the state? Because I think they would just see that as like another state policy and possibly a good thing.
Well, I mean, I think the reason they'd see it as a good thing is because the military needs more people in it. And if the military needs more people in it, then you actually do need to make a harder push for it, which the first step to that is putting people in schools to get children to do it, which they have. And maybe even then it's hurting still. So they probably
they've lost their grip on the information war. Like the schools, sure. Like we both went through the public schools. We aren't the normal motherfuckers. But
I'm not licking windows out there.
The internet is just like a very strong force now. It is very strong, especially if like we got fucking good at like the cultural message with art and shit like that. It is a very strong like movement. I don't want to say it's just like one thing, but I'd say like the fucking socialists and whatnot. I doubt that they would say like, oh yeah, go work for the government or like go into civil service or anything like that. They might be co-opted. But
they can have any thought or ideology they want, but all we can know as Austrians are their performed actions.
Yeah. I don't necessarily know what that's in response to. It's just like that
basically they can have the idea that they want to subvert the state maybe, or like maybe they want to put in this policy that would do something to negatively impact the government. But the fact is like all they're doing is supporting the government through what they do as technicians of the state. It's not like
every
to undermine it.
The government. Or supports the state's existence. Not necessarily existence. The existence is kind of not in question because the state very likely will not have an action possible that it could end itself so easily, especially the United States government. But what I would say is the perception of a policy, like what the politicians are convinced of in their heads is likely what they'll act in accordance with. When it comes to the state, there could be like outlier influences on that. But if like the policy is supported as like yes, this is what we should do, the service guaranteeing citizenship, I think the left would definitely not be in, or like the Democratic Party would not be in support of that just because they know who their voters are. And some of the right probably would not be as well. So I doubt that that would go through, or that would even have a chance of going through. And I doubt Vivek even wins the primary, let alone the presidential ticket. So it's just like, would that be cool? Yeah, I'm fine with. Like,
I mean, I don't think it has to be Vivek that puts in this policy. I think it's just an idea there that could be used by, I mean, any agent of the state that wishes to try and use this as a way to increase the enrollment in the military.
That may do that in a small part, but I think it would be greater blow to legitimacy.
They could find a way around it, doing something else, like instead of just literally that, it could be some other plan in which they're not necessarily targeting voting.
Pay us.
Let's see. What?
Pay us to vote. Yeah, that.
Well, they could literally like just increase pay for military, or like do something. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be that itself, but that seems like an idea they're throwing out. I mean, you can name a bunch of government policies that we might think are subversive, but any that you can name, I can point to how this would actually benefit the state.
I wouldn't necessarily say that I would care about the subversion aspect of it. I would say the blow to legitimacy, I think, is a good thing in just like a movement sort of sake. And there could be like an ancillary benefit to any policy. Like you can literally anything has like an indirect benefit and cost to, not literally anything, but like the vast majority of things have an ancillary benefit and cost to everything else. Every action has a benefit and cost to everything else, where it's just like every action that you take, you could have done something else. So you could have like been productive with that. And so you could have benefited this many people. But if this person was productive as a cost of your action, or like this person had more wealth, then they would have done this and that would have costed that. So it's just like very, very strong, like ripple effect, you could say. But when it comes to these state actions, I would say blows to legitimacy are just like so weighted in that calculation. I would just say like the more illegitimate people think the government are, the greater our chances of like growing numbers, getting more people on our side, getting more people engaged in counter economic action and everything like that.
All right. You know who is pro affirmative action though? Our boy RFK. So we're actually gonna
Robert the Pussy Slayer Kennedy.
We're gonna Slayer if his tongue is the Slayer, and so yeah, basically he says the unfortunate SCOTUS ruling striking down President Biden's or is this the right thing? This is not the right thing. Student loan program. This is the wrong thing. This is SCOTUS. It's another SCOTUS decision. I had the completely wrong thing there. My bad on that. But apparently he likes student loans as well. And he also, why would he, the question is, why would he support something that Biden said there? I mean, I guess he's just trying to tag on to that saying like, oh, look, I like Biden, but I'm also better.
Yeah. What
is happening here? Hi, everybody. People watching this campaign are thinking, well, we probably have 100 million in the bag. But because I've now got 20% in the polls in the Democratic primaries against President Biden, and I have the strongest favorability ratings of either President Biden or President Trump in general elections. So when we have to make
just play the audio, you know.
I was seeing how long it would take for you to say
like,
something about that.
Fucking keep going. It's a 2-minute video.
Okay, so where's that tweet? Hold on. I got this. Okay, there we go. Look at me. I was just pulling up the first tweet about SCOTUS on his page, and that was what that got me. Regarding the Supreme Court banning affirmative action in higher ed, I know many Americans feel that purely race-based decisions are unfair. However, the feeling misses important context. The effects of racist policies going back centuries are now self-perpetuating. Affirmative action understands this and uses race-based policies to undo the effects of racist policies. Colorblind, quote-unquote, admissions tend to favor those who are already in the circle of privilege. It favors those who grew up in affluent, educated households. Wouldn't you like to invite those who have been left down in the cold?
There are a few things that could happen. Assuming, I'd say this is likely an aide. He got an aide to make the statement, just like the
I don't believe he said that.
I'm getting voice.
Dude, you have to stop doing that. I know what you do in your off time.
I can't not. I know I'll get his voice. I can't not.
You can't not?
Can't not.
You can't not?
No.
Okay. Well, okay, hold on real quick. I've actually become disillusioned myself with the idea that most libertarians have that discourse and convincing people to become libertarians is viable or effective means.
Depends on the ends you're talking about, but I'd say like getting people to believe that the government is illegitimate is like a pretty hard part. It's a decent stepping stone to start from, and you definitely don't want to feed them moonshine in the form of like hard theory. You want to like just start them off easy, get them going, everything like that, get them on their way. But I'd say got to get the culture, got to get the cultural narratives involved, and got to work on that.
To clarify, I still want people to change their minds toward being against the state, but I think that the state changes in their but I think a change in their means, networking and environment is going to have to come first.
And that's what I would say about culture. It wouldn't necessarily come from
ASP don't want to turn them into a leftist. Asperger's? ASP?
I don't fucking
what does he
know.
say? Do you know? Do you know?
No, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Jason, what are you saying?
Aspie.
Aspie don't want to turn them into a leftist. Also don't want to turn them.
And that's the hard part about like controlling that narrative and controlling that cultural narrative. But oh god, what was the point that I was gonna make?
You're talking about the discourse.
RFK thing.
I thought you were talking about discourse still, and having people be against the state.
Gotta control the culture. Gotta win that information war. Regarding his like whole affirmative action thing, I think we've touched upon most of it before. But it's just like, it might be an aid, it might be him, whatever it is the praxis of critical race Marxism and whatnot, where you have the idea of past discrimination cannot make up, or like past discrimination must be met with present discrimination, which must be met with future discrimination. It's discrimination all the way down and discrimination all the way up, as above, so below, to where there's never not going to be. It's just another ploy to get the state involved and everything like that. It's just another ploy to have these diversity, equity, inclusion offices and jobs and roles to integrate DEI and ESG agendas into businesses, into universities, into the government.
So you said he had AIDS?
I don't know who we're talking about, but yes.
RFK.
Yes.
You said he had AIDS on the tweet. Yeah.
I mean, he's the AIDS baby of Jordan Peterson and Slavoj Žižek.
Okay, I see. Yeah.
Fuzzy.
Honestly, I think the whole RFK thing, like, it's interesting to see that, because when you look at his actual Twitter, I wasn't expecting to see them written out this way. I mean, first of all, because of how he talks, obviously, but like, you know, based on all the conspiracy stuff, I mean, that's what's getting him press, right? But I guess he wants people to come to him and be like, oh, this is still a serious candidate, quote unquote, whatever that means. You know, like, oh, I'm still a guy that's actually in the race. What do you think his odds of, you know, being the president are, whatever it takes to get there?
Slim. I don't think the CIA is going to necessarily assassinate him.
It would be the funniest thing.
It would be
It would be
3
funny.
for 3. 3 for 3.
Well, it's rule of threes. As soon as the third one happens, it's the funniest thing to ever happen.
Does he have any children?
I don't know.
He might. I don't know. That dynasty's not looking very good. Not looking very good.
Good.
But yeah, don't think he's likely to win like the Democratic primary. Do you think other people will come out of the woodwork in front against
on the
Biden?
Democrat side?
Yeah. Because there's no way they're running Biden again.
This is seeming like, well, okay, you know, maybe they'll have like a last minute Kamala or something. I've also heard a lot of people wanting Michelle Obama.
I hear Michelle Obama. I thought I remember hearing about like CPAP marks on his face, like visible.
Pap smear?
Yeah, getting like pap smear, just like rubbing them.
CPAP.
Yeah, CPAP.
Talking about like the ball gag.
No, I'm talking about the thing where it's just like you can't like breathe in your sleep, so then you got to get the thing. And
But I saw somebody compare it to a ball gag. They're like, "What? He had that on him?" Yeah. Let's see. Hold on. I'm not against discourse as a means. I just don't think it's necessarily as big a W as most libertarians think. I mean, you could convince a bunch of people to be anti-state, but if their solution is to, quote unquote, vote the state away, we aren't really winning anything.
I mean, that's getting there. It's stepping stones. You don't build Rome in a day. Journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step, yada, yada, that sort of thing. So it's just like, they're still on their path. They're still getting there. You just got to keep steering them in the path. You don't necessarily have to do that personally. But again, the largest way to get to people is getting those cultural narratives infused, everything like that. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it RFK and do you think Kamala is going to be the presidential nominee on the Democrat side?
Do I think that Kamala will? I don't necessarily know. She's got such terrible fucking cackle. I doubt it. I hear Gavin Newsom.
Oh,
I hear
okay,
that
yeah,
would
I've
be
heard
awful.
that too.
Yeah.
Didn't Trump say something about Gavin Newsom, like, you know, possibly running with him or something like that?
That would be.
I heard about this. You know, hold on.
That.
No, I heard something. Maybe it was a joke. I don't know, but I heard about this on like Twitter or something, or somebody saying like, "Oh, Trump's spoken good about Newsom. Maybe they'll." Let's see.
I doubt that heavily.
You know, I don't know what it was. I heard something about that. I don't know what it was. Maybe I was reading some comment or something. I don't know. Probably something stupid. It probably wasn't real. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. What was it? Didn't he say he wouldn't already? Wasn't he like I said I wouldn't or something?
Wasn't DeSantis saying that?
No, it was Charlie Crist that told DeSantis that he's like something about like, you know, why won't you say you won't? And then Gavin Newsom, I believe, was the one that said he wouldn't. Afterward, he's like, oh look, I'll say I won't do it. Like I'll pledge myself as governor of California again or something like that.
Because a politician, they're many things, but we know they're not one thing. We know they're not liars, and we can trust them on.
Oh, yeah, I think I do. I think what matters more is steering them toward direct action, regardless of their ideology. They're way more likely to turn into libertarians once their lifestyle is directly hostile to the state.
I mean, yes and no. Like, depends on what you mean hostile to the state, like criminals.
Watch my Agorist playlist. I have a playlist called Agorism Civil Offense Podcast that you can watch right now, full of my videos where I talk about agorism. And actually, it's a really good one because it contains all the information you'll possibly need. Not all of it that you'll possibly need, but it'll get you completely in the right direction toward what you need to know.
Yeah. But I'd say doing some things like getting people to consider, I mean, definitely like hard money, metals, precious metals. Those are very good. If you have money, I'm fucking poor.
I actually have a lot of hard money because I always have ones on me.
Sure. Jesus. But anything like that, can't stop the signal. 3D printing, the at-home manufacture of armaments is very, very interesting and based. Other stuff like that. But I would say like the ideas have to be there. It's not necessarily the ideas. Narratives have to be there. You have to understand and infuse the ideas into narratives because that's the way that people think. Getting stories and not necessarily music. It would be good if there was just like a good anthem that the movement could attach itself to. That isn't fucking cringe. But then also pictures are everything like that. Come on, Stable Diffusion is out. We got this shit. The barrier to entry for creating art is so fucking low now.
I do think we could be using Austrian talking points to get people more invested in hard money. So I'd agree with you to that extent.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff you could do, but ideas.
Use ChatGPT to write your essays in school. Get out of that. Don't do the essays they're giving you. Those discussion posts are also pretty cringe. So if you're in college right now and you just need to get out real quick, just do a bunch of discussion posts with ChatGPT. Get out of it.
Yeah.
Or just drop out, but you know.
If you're already in, you've got a cost benefit analysis. Like, come on, yeah.
If you have something better going on, just leave. Okay. So anyway, any closing thoughts, Ashton? What are you thinking right now?
Nothing too much. I think covered a lot of ground.
Boring. All right. So anyway, guys, it is over. Pride Month will end in about half an hour, and we are so out of there.
Oh wait, is it actually? Oh, that's hilarious.
It's only about like 37 minutes, and we're over. We're out of Pride Month forever because there will never be another one because we are taking the biggest wins ever, guys. RFK obviously next top government shill unless he just doesn't win the presidency. I think Trump's gonna win. If Trump doesn't win, I actually pledge that I would say the N-word 100 times in my Discord server. So do make sure you join the Discord server in case Trump doesn't win because you're gonna want to be there for that. Yeah, well, I mean, I already pledged, so what can I do?
Be a politician and like Renes said, like go back on it.
Oh yeah, obviously I'll have
or
to
someone
do something
hacked your
about
phone.
it.
Yeah.
Oh well, you know, maybe the Discord channel that I say it in is private.
And this is
only,
a
like
deep
3
fake.
people are in there. Like you have to pay to get in. Like you actually have to pay money to get in there.
This is a deep fake.
This was a deep fake the whole time. Honestly, I think somebody sent that from my phone. I don't even know what happened. It was like Russia or something. Russia. Yeah, guys. Well, anyway, good stream. Glad having you guys here. It's been great. Say the N-word 100 times regardless. I do that every day in traffic. Okay. Like I hate people that are driving slow. It's so annoying. It's so annoying.
It's just
Anyways,
such a
guys.
like viscerally disgusting word.
What?
That's the other thing. It's just such a viscerally disgusting word.
But it's funny.
No, it's fucking cringe.
Well, anyway, you can check my server to see if it's cringe or funny, and I will probably launch a poll on that soon. Anyway, guys, make sure to like, comment, and share the show. Once again, remember, because it has been a great stream, and remember that civil offense is the key to winning. Thank you.